So this is how to hit 10 grand a month and never work a normal job again, as step by step as I can. And before we dive in, let me just be clear, okay? This isn't about get rich quick schemes or making promises I can't back up at all. This is literally the exact system I used to build my own income to that first 10K in real time. And before I hear it in the comments too, no, I don't hate 9 to 5s. I actually recommend them for all beginners. But if you're tired of that kind of just clocking in grind, feeling undervalued, or just literally want more money and freedom, this video is specifically for you. So let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. My first point, I want to hit on my story a little bit more and the 10K a month kind of mindset shift that I needed way back when. And first, you need to understand that, okay? So after a few years in the corporate world, I just had no interest anymore. I was always knowing that at some point I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I don't know what the hell I was going to do, but I have nothing against jobs, but most are a means to an end, right? Or there's always some type of hierarchy, people backstabbing, people trying to grind up that corporate ladder no matter how many people they have to get ahead of, right? I just got sick of it. I honestly got sick of sipping the Kool-Aid, and I was like, listen, this is like the perfect time to do this thing, and I know I can. I knew I had the skill set, okay? And this is why I recommend everyone go through the 9 to 5 first, and then, start your own thing later. I need to talk about why 10 grand a month is also the magic number, in my opinion, right? At this level, a few things happen. I'm telling you this from experience. When you hit 10K consistently, I noticed 3 very immediate changes. First, the financial stress just completely disappeared. Second, I can actually reinvest in growing my business without feeling any type of pinch. And then third, I had actual time freedom, right? Not just evenings and weekends. Even when I was working like a dog in 2022, like 10, 11 hours a day, I would rather do that than work 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours now in the corporate world, just being totally honest. And the biggest kind of mindset shift that you need to make is stop thinking about hourly rates, right? The moment you detach your income from your time is when everything changes. This is a famous moment in stream where this happened, where a guy was working Uber and like 2 other jobs. He was wondering why he couldn't get ahead. He was actually kind of getting angry. And I was like, dude, the math is simple. Like at even $50 an hour, you'd need to work 200 hours to make 10 grand. Right? That's essentially impossible, especially in a sustainable way. But when you build actual systems or charge a specific high ticket price that generate revenue without your, input all the time, everything changes. Okay. So before I get into point 2, of course, this is a plug for consult calls. I can help you map out your own why, give you, step-by-step instructions to plug this into your own life. If you're interested, the link is below for a 30-minute or 1-hour option. If you have any questions on that, let me know. Let's get into point 2. These are 2 very dead simple business models that can scale. And trust me, I've tested dozens of beginner business models: real estate wholesaling, private equity deal sourcing, freaking car flipping, forex trading, everything under the sun. Nothing beats these 2. Okay, and this is what allowed me to consistently hit the 10K a month mark without actual real ongoing work. For beginners, sales. Just selling other people's expensive products will take you so far. You can actually make more than 10 grand a month, honestly. You don't have to worry about customer service, setting up your own LLC, business bank accounts, fulfillment, any of that stuff. You just sell and you close. That's it. It's a grind, but you can make a ton. For my more kind of middle level intermediate guys, freelance and agency services. This is obviously if you have more experience or a really even better existing skill set, you're going to need to know how to sell to make any of these work regardless. But this could be literally anything, right? Some great ideas that I'm seeing right now that if I genuinely had more time, I would pursue is like ghostwriting for businesses, copywriting and email marketing for B2B businesses, design or ad creatives, especially with ChatGPT's image generation. Like there's so many opportunities here. Cold email lead gen, AI implementation for SMBs or people who have no idea what's going on with AI. Like there are genuinely so many ways to make this work right now. You could basically just flip a coin and say, okay, great, this is the business model I'm pursuing because I know there's crazy money to be made here. Just do it, pick one model. Obviously, if you have an existing skill set within one, do that for sure. And if you don't, literally just choose one of these blindly. It doesn't even matter. Point 3, your revenue math and how to get clients. Okay, let me break down exactly how you can charge to hit 10K accordingly. If you absolutely must, I would literally work for free just to get case studies and to be able to market those case studies. Those are worth more than the retainer that is worth $1,000 or $2,000, even $3,000. Because if you get one, ideally 3 to 5, but just even one good local, someone who's legit person telling you that what you do for them is great, that is going to be insane. That will take you so far, right? So If you've got to be flexible here as a salesperson, this is dead simple, right? Just take 10 to 20% commission of every high ticket close that you sell. For freelance basis, I always do a retainer, typically like $1 to $2 grand a month minimum, and then backfill with what value I have to provide for that amount of money, whether it's a certain amount of leads, whether it's a certain amount of creatives, whether it's a certain campaign to be set up, whatever. There's a million ways to do this. For, say, copywriting, for example, you could do a lower retainer and then a percentage of campaign revenue that you write, for example. I know this is really famous in e-commerce brands, right? I've seen like $5,000 to $25,000 a month from just a few clients this way. These guys are working like part-time, or they outsource it eventually, and it's a crazy, crazy method, right? And client acquisition, it's actually very easy. I'd focus on the Dream 100 outreach in the beginning, where it's like you just pick your top 100 clients you would love to work with that you know are qualified, reach out to them by hand. I don't care how you have to get their attention, but also just try to get the first handful of clients. I don't care if it's local, small businesses. This just helps you get your reps in, and also just, work that way. So there's no right or wrong answer here. Obviously, I'm biased, but do cold email and cold calls by hand. You don't need fancy softwares yet. None of that is worth it. You don't need any of that stuff. Just a simple landing page with your offering. A professional domain does help for sure, but it's not 100% necessary. I've literally closed clients with a Gmail domain before and literally no landing page. Okay, so it's good, but it's not necessary, so to speak. Point 4, build systems, not just income. This is a huge mistake. Let me tell you, I sold as a freelancer. You're going to naturally have to do this. You have an advantage as a freelancer, right? People like working with someone who, they don't have to train, they don't have to manage, they don't have to pay a crazy in-house salary. They could just bring you on. But the issue with that is they're going to demand your time. You almost have a bunch of bosses at that point versus you positioning yourself as an agency. You risk being perceived as like, oh, is this guy really running a legit company, a legit operation? But you also don't have the clients breathing down your neck at every time because you position yourself as like, hey, I'm the owner. I'm going to be handing, off to an account manager or a CSM. So you don't really need to worry about this right now, but build that perception, build that it's like, hey, this is a legit corporation. I'm here for when you need me, but I'm not going to answer your questions 24/7. Okay, so just be very, very careful with that. And then the real secret, it's not just making money, right? It's creating this stuff that you can make money without your input. And this is why I now have client acquisition systems. So I have automated cold emails that get me consistent leads. We use Instantly software and Built With. We have an application funnel that pre-qualifies prospects. We have a booking system that schedules calls only when I'm actually around and available, right? We use Calendly for that. And then delivery systems, so like SOPs for every service that we offer, project management systems like Airtable, which our team follows and our team uses to track all our leads and appointments, and then just general QC, general quality control that don't really require my involvement. My team kind of handles that part for me, which is amazing. And then of course the team structure, which is eventually what you're going to have to do is you're going to need a bookkeeper once things start getting complex. You're going to need some type of fulfillment, some type of appointment setter, or someone to take the fulfillment off of your agency stuff. So I had a VA, I had an admin who handled all of my back office bookkeeping stuff for $600 a month, and it was awesome. And then eventually a content manager, and then eventually an appointment setter, right? This is all stuff that you can delegate, get off your plate, so you can just focus on closing customers. That is your only goal right now, is to get cash flow through that door. Okay. Key insight. I spent literally just 3 months documenting everything I did, recording everything I did on Loom. And then I slowly started handing off tasks to future employees, which really, really helped me. Point 5, this is what I call the freedom timeline. This is the most exciting part. Let me be just brutally honest about how long this stuff really takes. I was in a very unique scenario to where I got to 12 grand a month in the first 30 days, 45 days, something like that. But your first month or two is just building your offer, testing market demand, which I'm telling you is there, but just build the offer, craft that, get messages out there as quickly as you possibly can. Month 3 to 4 is creating your systems and then content to make you look like a legit person. Get on camera. Who cares what they think, right? Just get that, voice out there. Show that you're legit and you're not someone hiding behind a computer screen. And then months 5 to 6-ish is really scaling acquisition. At this point, you should have 100%, 3 to 5 closed customers, probably even more. And you're slowly starting to build your team. You're slowly starting to delegate where it's okay, I'm capped out. What is the highest leverage task that I can get off my plate right now so I can focus all my time on acquisition? That's what you focus on. And then months 6 to 12 is just optimizing what's working, increasing your margins, keeping costs as low as possible, because I see people invest almost too much. And at this point, you could probably start paid ads. You could probably start, as long as you're, I'd say, above 25 to 30 grand a month. That's when you can really start running ads. That was a huge mistake of mine, was I relied too much on cold emails and referrals, and now we're trying to make that time back up. So the most kind of critical pivot point for me, at least, was month 5, when I raised my prices by, I think it was like 25-30%, and got even more clients because of the perceived like value increase, and because I could backfill and be like, no, I can confidently charge 25% more. This isn't freaking 2020 anymore, where I have to offer my old boss's pricing, which is what I did, right? So just be very careful, think about that long term, and then maybe some warning signs, like what not to do. If you're working more than 30 hours weekly after 6 months, something is genuinely wrong with your system. If you're working like 50, 60 hours a week, you got clients all up in the air. This is where a lot of freelancers get stuck. They even hit that 10 grand a month mark. They either can't keep it consistently, or they just, they're constantly going from 6 to 12 to 4 to, X amount of grand per month. You want to keep a consistent benchmark. And I'm telling you, I know this joke is kind of flying around, where it's like, it's the flying private joke. Once you fly private, you never want to go back to economy, even business class, right? I'm telling you, you're going to feel this way when you've hit your first 10. You just need to focus on getting there, because then you realize it's like, I can't dip below. There's no way. I'm going to make sure that I hit 10 grand a month every single month for the rest of my life. And that's how I've done since March 2022. Like I said, I've talked about this before, but I haven't had a month since March of 2022 that I haven't done minimum 20 grand in profit. And that is a feeling that I wish every single person watching this video can get to. And to kind of end things off, if you will, to conclude this thing, 10K months without a normal job isn't just about the money. This is something I want to drive home. It's about freedom and building a life on your own terms, right? That's the whole thing. I'm a big car guy, and I've told this story before, but my freedom, my time to just do whatever the hell I want, wake up when I want, go to the gym when I want, eat what I want, is worth more than 100,000 Lambos. I don't care. It is priceless. I'll put it that way. It's priceless. And the stuff I've outlined today aren't theoretical. This isn't some Ponzi scheme. This isn't some woo-woo stuff. This is happening right before you. And they're exactly what I did to go from honestly just annoyed with the 9-to-5 world to financially comfortable, time rich, and building my first liquid million. So as always, if you've made it this far, I want to see you win. Comment below if you have any questions. We'll see you in the next one.